I do think that it's important to state here that like we are telling you to not discount services unless it is a calculated,
Yeah.
mathematically sound decision. So,
Correct.
like for you, it's 110 to like $87. You know that at $87 you would still be profitable. The thing that I can that
Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Female Empowered. I'm your host, Krista Gurka, and today I have one of my favorite people in the whole wide world on my guest episode with me. We do this episode every year, so she's like an old pro, but I have Latasha Doyle here, who's the founder and CEO of Uncanny Content, the mastermind behind my content strategy for both Krista Gurka and Pilates in the Grove. She is the expert lead coach in the inner circle for all things content strategy, building digital programming, and she's just an all-around amazing human being for and ever and ever. And I'm so excited to see her down in person again at the CEO Summit happening. And I don't know. Yeah, it'll happen. When is this episode airing? Yes, it'll happen after this episode airs. I just looked in my notes. So, Latasha, why don't you remind people or introduce yourself to people who've never heard your name on this podcast before? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Perfect. Thank you for that intro. I am Latasha. I am the owner of Uncanny Content. We are full service content and copy, which essentially means we take everybody, our clients, through everything from their strategy to launches to new offers that they're creating. We create the messaging around that. We create the strategy around when they're posting what, and we write all of their content for them so that they don't have to. I've been doing this since 2015. So yeah, 8 years now, which is kind of wild. But I have worked with you, I think now for over 3 years.
I know. I was just thinking about that. I
It's
think
3 years.
it's just, yeah.
And like Krista said, I am the copy coach inside of the inner circle, which is always really fun because I get to dig into so many PTs and Pilates studios and wellness providers and their sites and their copy and their content strategy. But I just really love it. I love helping people figure out what they're going to say, how they're going to say it, and when they're going to say it.
And I will say, I'm not an easy person to work with, only because, in a lot of ways, but also because I'm all over the place. And I've recognized that over the last couple of years. And I appreciate working with someone that doesn't just feed into that and just says, even like last month when we had our call last week about like, hey, your branding, I don't know what's going on with your social media right now. Like it's all over the fucking board. And she's right. The truth is, like, I was doing so much with Krista Gurka that I kind of let Pilates in the Grove fall through the cracks. And I sit in the marketing seat on that for Pilates in the Grove. And it was like, I only had the bandwidth to do so much, but you could have just run with it and been like, okay, this is a shit she wants to put out. Like, we'll go with it. And she was like, we need to reel this back in. And one of the things that I think is great with you and the women in the inner circle is because I see so much of myself in them, like where I was 4 years ago, and not even necessarily with like the brick and mortar per se, but just really the wanting to try 17 different things and like not having a strategy on how we're going to do any one thing. So like,
Yeah.
or running something and then it flops once and we're like, oh, let's go back to the drawing board and start all over again. And so you and your team, besides being amazing with words, having someone on your team that just helps guide your strategy is so huge. And I don't know, I've worked with a bunch of companies and I think you and your team do it the best for sure.
I will say from my experience, we do a pretty good job.
Yeah.
But I also think, we always say that, yes, we're content and copywriters, but we're brand advocates first and foremost, because like what Krista was just saying about, the Pilates and the Grove Social kind of falling off the map. That was me saying, hey, this isn't in alignment with what you've told us you want this brand to be. And we have those conversations with clients, and, sometimes I have to find more gentle ways to say them. With you, I can be like, what the fuck is happening?
This
Um,
is a shit show, a hot mess, and a dumpster fire of like, what is going on?
but it's always with the, goal in mind. It's not to be like, well, this isn't how I would have done it. It's
Yeah.
literally, you said you wanted one thing. We're not seeing that. Let's kind of reevaluate.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, you and I have similar communication styles. So I think you and I, like, we can laugh about it and send each other funny gifts or whatever. And we throw down F-bombs every once in a while. But so it doesn't bother me at all.
Right.
In fact, I'm happy that someone's like, or even when I have these other ideas and I'm like, what about this? And you're like, yeah, no, it's just a hard no with a period at the end.
That is why we have worked together so well for so long.
That's true.
I can say those things to you that like I might make other people cry.
Yeah, no, not no. I like it because sometimes I just get very set in my ways. So anyways, that's not what we have on topic for today, but I did want to give people a little bit of background on where this comes from. And so what we're going to talk about is Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Okay, so, and we're doing this early because people should already be planning they should have it done. By the time this episode airs, it's going to be, if everything goes on according to plan, October 24th. Okay, by then you should have your Black Friday and Cyber Monday deal, promotion, everything pretty much wrapped up for the most part. Ours is already done. Like Pilates in the Grove and Krista Gurka's Black Friday, Cyber Monday planning is done. The emails are written. The only thing left to do actually is upload them into our email provider ConvertKit and just schedule them. So we are done before October. So now Latasha has been really helpful. And I think I was like this even before we started working together. That I was like, I don't believe in discounting services for Black Friday and Cyber Monday for a brick and mortar business at a service provider, because here's why. People, like, when you go to Toys R Us, does that even exist anymore?
No, they went out.
Oh my God, they're out of business, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, when you have these like big box retailers, they have a ton of inventory. And so discounting it significantly, they've already built that into their money lines, right? But when you give a service, let's say that's $100, even if you're talking about a salon, $100 for like a color. And if they're like, oh, 50% off, the cost doesn't change for providing that service. And then what happens, especially in Pilates studios or PT, now you get all of this revenue like at the end of November that goes on your books that you have to pay taxes on. And if you're like, oh, let's do 20 classes for 50% off, like those people are going to use the classes in the following year. So when I started working with Latasha, I was like, let's help business owners in this industry understand how they can make Black Friday and Cyber Monday work for them. So she's an expert at this. So, and she has her own business. So like she's also coming to it from, and she works with all business owners across the spectrum. So let's talk about what are some things that healthcare and wellness business owners, like what kind of value can we provide to our clientele as opposed to like retail stores that are selling product?
So, we've already talked about like not discounting your services, right? Like we really want you to be cautious of that. The other thing that I've seen happen there is, people have hired a new Pilates instructor or they've hired a new PT and they're like, well, I need to fill their calendar. How are you going to be able to pay that person if you're discounting the services that they're giving? Like that's like the biggest red flag for me. And it's something that I've heard a couple of times inside of
in the group
or Fitness Foundations.
And what do you think about this? Because you also go to PT and go to Pilates, like from a consumer.
Yeah.
If that person's services are discounted, right? What perception then do you have of that provider, right? In comparison to other people. So I always caution business owners, like if you discount that PT services, and then all of a sudden you double them the following. Like, what is that? I don't know. What do you think as a consumer? Does that make, am I just imposing my thoughts on it's not
So
true?
one
Or
of the things that, so there's this chiropractor down the street and he always has signs out that are like 10 sessions for the price of 5. And I'm like, you're a sham. Like
Mhm.
you're not good at what you do. You're probably breaking people's necks. Um, One thing I will say is that as a recurring client, so for like my PT, she does like open enrollment, like you have done, where it's, you know, a slight discount on like a package that you purchase at the end of the year to use your HSA dollars, or the beginning of the year to use your HSA dollars. That feels very good to me because it's like, hey, I know that like my prices have gone up since we started working together. And this is my way of like, you know, giving you a little bit of a discount on that. So it's like 12 sessions for the price of 10 or 11 or something like that. But that's not a public discount. That is literally just for recurring clients who, you know, started at $150 an hour versus $225 an hour, those kinds of things. Um, I for a cash-based clinic provider, I would never expect those services to be discounted. Maybe I'm a little bit weird in that because I do have a very complex body. Like I have Marfan syndrome, and I'll tell you what, I have never had good service from a discounted provider. Not once. Not an
yeah.
insurance-based provider, nothing. I have paid cash my entire adult life for these services. So I could be a little bit biased there, but I also know that when you are really fucking good at what you do, you don't need to provide a discount. You just don't.
Mhm.
You
I
might have to
agree.
give people some
I agree.
incentives to get in the door, but you don't need to
Mhm.
provide a discount, especially not a
Yeah.
huge one.
I agree with you. I agree with you. It's almost like I remember one of my friends one time was like, "Hey, I got a group to go get Botox. You want to come with me?" I was like, "Fuck no. I do
No,
not want to go get Botox from a group.
they're gonna be
No."
so bad. Even those
No.
nail salons that do it that are like $25 for like mani pedi, and I'm like, no, I don't want to go there.
I don't know. No, I don't think so. So,
To each
okay,
their own.
so we just had the call in the inner circle. You did your call, I think last week, about talking about Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So what were some things and types of promotions, and you can even talk about Pilates in the Grove if
Yeah,
you want,
yeah,
that you recommend or you've seen work for service providers?
yeah. So the biggest thing that I have seen work is to get new people in the door, you know, providing like a free session. Like I know that I'm saying like don't discount your services, but it's not like a free session, or sorry, it's not a discount in the sense of like all your classes are only $20. It's you pay for 10 and you get one free. So then stretched across that, the profit is only like $10 less a session. Like it's really not that big of a cut for you. So then you have to think about like, okay, so if I have an instructor teaching this, like I'm still going to make 20% profit on this or whatever it is. But the other thing that I've seen work really well is doing, if you have courses, if you have videos, if you have group online classes, those do really well, especially as like a bonus. So if you want to sell more of like your membership or a package, and you say you also get my free nutrition online course that's going to walk you through this, or like my macro class, or you know my home stretching course, whatever it is. We work with a couple of PTs who do like they have a video library they sell. So one is like a scoliosis boot camp that has like adjustments and tips you can do. Another one is like core or stretching courses. Those perform really well on Black Friday because people can buy them for a very discounted price, but they're already created. You've already done the library, you've already got it ready to go. Um, those do really well. And then if you have an in studio, like physical studio, I've seen people selling their merch really well on Black Friday, or even having like a vendor. So we have a Pilates studio down the street, and they do like a Black Friday boutique where it's like just different makers from the neighborhood come in. So like one lady was selling like her homemade jewelry, and one lady was selling her little like crocheted beanie babies. One lady was selling like headbands and stuff like that. So those makers get a percent and the studio gets a percent. But if you have merch, put that on sale, you know,
Yeah,
make sure
that's
you're
true.
watching your profit margins on it. But
Yeah, my feeling on merch is twofold. Well, one, it depends if is it like your branded merch, or like some people have really nice merch in their
yeah,
studios, like they have Aloe or Lululemon or whatever is wholesale. So my feeling on my merch is like, I don't to be honest, all of our merch is branded.
Yeah.
And I don't expect to make a profit on my merch. So if I break even and someone's walking
Yeah.
around with a Pilates in the Grove shirt, to
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
that's a win. So one of the
Yeah.
things that you can do is say like, 50% off all merch or 50% off grip socks, which, I mean, we're a sock studio, so people need that.
Yep.
The other thing, I love what you said about the library. I love the Black Friday boutique, because people can, if you get community in, maybe they'll tell people that they're doing a boutique,
Yep.
and then you get them into your studio, and it's right before the holidays. So people can like
Yeah.
do little tchotchkes, like
Yeah.
gift shop stuff. I love that idea. And it actually just gave me an idea of maybe we'll do that in one of our locations. It just gave
Yeah.
me like a black
Well,
idea.
your Coconut Grove location, you have so much outside space too that
Exactly.
maybe you could talk to the leasing company to be like, hey, can we have like, and it's Miami, right? Like it's not shitty weather. If I did that here in
Well,
the middle of November, we'd have snow.
right now it's like the worst weather ever. But yeah, we could do a little bit.
What
And
is it
even
doing?
it's horrible rain. Like it's like
Oh,
literally like hurricane. It's so terrible. But um I think, isn't the Saturday after Black Friday Small Business Saturday too?
it
So
is.
then, so you could combine like Black Friday with Small Business Saturday, and you do the Saturday boutique and like that. And
So
you're
our
right, like you
Pilates
do.
studio, it's the whole weekend. So it's Black
Awesome.
Friday boutique and they have different creators every day.
That's so cool. That just gave me an idea. So I'm glad. The other thing is one of the things that Pilates in the Grove is doing
I would love to
is
hear the math around this.
the math around this. So we don't offer a private package that's less than 5 sessions. Okay. That's our lowest. So we do single, 5, and 10. So what we're doing is we're offering 4 private sessions for, what is it? I think
$350?
$350. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like a 30% discount or something like that.
It's 30 to 50. I think it's 50% off Pilates and 30% off PT.
Yeah. So we're basically offering $350 for 4 sessions. So that ends up, let me see. Let's use my calculator. If I turn it on, 350 divided by 4 is $87, which yeah, like normally they're 110. So, and we're saying you can use them between 2 and 5 p.m. And you have to use it by December 31st. So the whole idea is like, 1, you could gift it to somebody if you wanted to. 2, these are the times of the studio that are dead.
Yeah.
And so even if we allow, like, even if we say, oh, you can use it with a physical therapist that makes a little more money in that hour, right now we're making $0. So
Yep.
0 of 0 is 0, right? How's that math for you?
Good.
0 of 0 is 0. So even if we're only making $25 on that, it's $25 more. And how about this math? 25 is more than 0. How do you like that math? How do you like them apples?
Our high school math teachers would be so proud.
I know mine is probably rolling over in his grave right now, but that's basically how we came up with it. So yes, we'll get an influx of cash. Yes, we'll fill the studio at times that is dead right now, which means our afternoon instructors will make a little bit more money, and they have to use it before the end of the year. So we're not going to be rolling over into the following year. And my feeling is that the people that come during the day, so some people would be like, oh, well, what's to keep your people paying regular price? Like, our people that are paying regular price, they want to come at 10 a.m. They don't want to come between 2 and 5. So I don't know. It's the first time we're trying it this year, and then on Monday, for Cyber Monday, we're going to sell our fully online, 100% digital self-study Pilates mat training program, which, like Latasha was saying, if you have a program that's already created, even if you discount it 50, 60%, like, it's no more work for you other than setting up the emails and making sure they get the product. Like, that's the end, right?
Yeah.
So, and for us at this point, all of it is profit.
Yeah.
It's already created.
Exactly. I think that that's a huge incentive to build like a video library that's very niche to your population. So if you have a PT studio and you work with moms, maybe it's, stop peeing your pants 101. I don't know, just something that's very niche that gets people to be like, I do need that, and I don't have the time or the money or whatever to get one-on-one PT right now. I'm going to grab that. But back to like the discounted PT or Pilates sessions, I do think that it's important to state here that like we are telling you to not discount services unless it is a calculated,
Yeah.
mathematically sound decision. So,
Correct.
like for you, it's 110 to like $87. You know that at $87, you would still be profitable. The thing that concerns me about people discounting services is they tend to go really big and they're like, get 15 classes for the price of 10. And then that carries through the end of the year. That's a huge chunk of change. And I don't know if you guys have had to pay taxes lately, but it sucks
Oh, it is. Yeah.
bad. Uh,
Does.
so it's like you and your team have calculated that. And
Yeah.
if you're like, you know what, if this is a really hot offer, then, maybe it's worth it to do more of this.
Yeah.
So you're testing something, the profit is still there, all of that. So if you're going
That's
to
a good
discount
point.
services, please just do the math and do the math right.
And be very intentional. So that's a great point, Latasha. Thank you for circling back to that, because you're right. We're saying don't discount your services, but meanwhile, this is the offer we're doing. However, I'm not going to discount, like our classes are on wait lists, except for the evenings, but I'm not going to say like, oh, get 50% off of 10 class cards, because now I'm diluting the profit in the classes that are already profitable, right? So right now, what we're doing is like, we have gaps in the schedule from 2 to 5. Most of our studios, most people in this industry, that is like Death Valley. Okay. Yep. So if I can help my instructors make a little more money, and again, here's the math, 25 is more than 0, right? And I'm still paying rent during that time. So we're testing it, just like you said. A lot of people say, I can't fill my afternoon classes or I can't fill my evening classes. Maybe you could run a discount on services, like buy, 4 classes that you can use between, 3 and 7, and you have to use them by December 31st. Yeah. So that is something you can test. And then it will also give you feedback on, is it the class time that's an issue, or is it just you don't have that type of clientele? So maybe then you're like, oh, maybe we'll do a dynamic pricing scale for our evening classes, right? And you get some people that are at a little different price point that maybe they have flexibility in their schedule. Yeah. So there's just, yes, there's always a method to the madness.
Yeah. Well, and 2, your studio is fairly established. You've got a pretty good hold on your market. So trying these things isn't going to be a massive dip into your profit. But if you're just starting out and you have no clientele and you're discounting shit left and right, you are going to be really struggling. You have to up your rates again.
Yep.
When you're trying to pay your people, all these things. So there's a lot more math involved than like even my brain can comprehend, but it is important.
Yeah. And I like what you said, like 11 classes for the price of 10, because you're still getting the same amount of money. Right. You're not technically it is discounted once you amortize it over the whole 11, but you're still getting like your 350 up front, if right, that, so to speak. So anyways, the other thing is your ideas about products and services. If you are a specialist in something, if you are so Latasha has talked about it. She has scoliosis and she works with a scoliotherapist. Like if she's a specialist in that, maybe she produces like a intro to working with scoliosis patients, and then she's going B2B with a service, right? Like B2B, like, so Krista Gurka, if you're listening to this podcast right now, I'm going to be doing a huge discount on my resource library, which is like all my templates and stuff, on Cyber Monday. So if you're listening to this podcast, get on my email list. Okay. Go to my website, kristagurka.com, sign up for my email list. Because for B2B, I'm like, hey, for on Black Friday and Cyber Monday, if you guys want discounts on like contracts and templates and, all of this kind of stuff, it's going to be on a huge sale.
Yep.
Are you doing the Black Friday and Cyber Monday deal with your own Uncanny?
TBD. I don't know yet.
Okay.
We have our new strategy intensives that I think we could probably discount, but I just don't.
You haven't done your Black Friday and Cyber Monday deal yet?
No, I am no. I'm worried about everybody else's.
I know. That's usually how it is. Okay. So now we've decided what we're going to do. Okay. Let's say we've decided. Now, how does the planning and strategy come in? So talk about It's not just like showing up to a party one day and being like, hey, I have this big thing on sale. What should business owners plan to do, and how far out should they start planning for that?
Well, that depends. So some people don't like to do Black Friday, for anti-capitalist reasons, for holiday reasons, things like that. If you're going to be traveling for the holidays, maybe you don't want to be online, like answering dumb questions about what the price is on your 11 package offer. Maybe you want to do it the week before Thanksgiving. Maybe you want to just do it the week of Cyber Monday. We have a client who's doing it the week of Cyber Monday instead of the week of Thanksgiving. So that would be my first thing, is decide when you want to do it. Traditionally, it's Friday through Monday. So this year, I think it's 11/24 through 11/27. So decide on that, decide on what your discount is, or your new offer, whatever you're promoting. And then from there, kind of work back. And I would start promoting it at the beginning of November if you're doing it regular Black Friday. The reason I say that is because Black Friday is really loud now. Everybody and their dog has a sale. I mean, brick and mortar, like, they don't get the same traffic in store as they used to. So now they're blasting everybody with online ads. But like Krista just did, she told you to go get on her email list because she has a sale that's going to be happening on Cyber Monday for her templates. There are things like that you can start seeding. So if you're in studio and you're like, you see somebody that comes in and they need to buy a PT package, you can say, this will get you through till this date. And then just FYI, we're going to be having a Black Friday sale on our PT sessions. So just something to think about. If you are going to be selling merch, maybe you can start sending out emails that's like, hey, in studio, Black Friday through Cyber Monday, 10% off all merch, or 50% off grippy socks, whatever. And then kind of working your way through that. If you are on social a lot, maybe start teasing that to say like, hey, make sure you're on my email list because I'm going to be talking about my Black Friday sale before Black Friday. You might even get early access, something like that, just to drive people to the email list. Because as soon as you have them on that email list, your odds of conversion go way up. And then the week of Thanksgiving is always a little bit wobbly because people are traveling, you're getting ready to host, you're getting ready to go somewhere, whatever it may be. I tend to remind people very just straightforward, like Monday or Tuesday, to say, hey, I have a Black Friday sale coming. Thursday, if you want to post like, I'm so thankful for you. P.S. My sale goes live at midnight. You can do that. And then just blasting the shit out of people Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It is a numbers game, unfortunately, with Black Friday promotions because it is so loud. This is why I emphasize getting people on your email list first and foremost. So if you have a podcast, be driving people to your email list for what, maybe it's a freebie, maybe it's, I have a private Black Friday sale coming up for you. Maybe it's, get this free video, whatever it is. Driving people to your email list as much as possible. If you're on social, whatever it may be, having a sign-up sheet in the frickin' studio, whatever you need to do. Mm-hmm. The reason for that being is people are going to be monitoring their inbox way more on Black Friday because they know that that's where the deals are going to be for their biggest brands, right? Like, I am watching Kate Spade's shit like a hawk on Black Friday. Like, I am watching that. It's just a more direct point. And like, yes, people may swipe and just delete it. You're going to be promoting it on social. You're going to be talking about it in studio if you have a studio, but getting people on your email list is going to be one of the easiest ways to convert, because on Black Friday, those algorithms are, nobody has control over that.
That's true. That's true. But we do have control over our email list. So
yeah. But again, Black Friday morning, Black Friday night, Small Business Saturday, an email. Mm-hmm. Sunday after, an email. Monday, especially if your sale ends on Monday, I would do two emails. People usually get really worried about how many times they're emailing people because they don't want to, annoy them. You can have an opt-out button at the top of your emails. I don't care. Like, it can say, don't want any Black Friday sale info, click here and you'll be removed from this list. And then that just opts them out of Black Friday stuff, and they can get put back on your regular list when you're back. But odds are people are just going to swipe delete. They're not going to like unsubscribe. You're not going to annoy anybody, especially if you have like an actual discount that they want or an offer that they really want. Like, I'm not deleting anything that any of my wellness providers are sending me on Black Friday. Like, yeah. I need their shit. If they're going to discount something, I'm going to buy it.
Yeah. Plus, it's not your job to worry about upsetting other people. Your job is to promote your offer.
No. The
So,
only time I will say that like it could be overkill is if you have like 10 people on your email list and they're
oh,
like
well, yeah.
half of your family. Okay. Like I get that because that is how everybody starts, right? It's just like my mom reads my newsletters religiously. And it's so embarrassing for me to send those because I'm just like, she's gonna like catch a typo or like a broken format link or something. Sure enough, every freaking time Alicia comes in with the, did you know you have a typo? So things like that. Like if you have a very small email list, I get it. You don't need to blast them. Send an email or two. Ask them to send it to people that they know.
Mhm,
Make it a little bit
mhm.
more intimate. Um, and then posting on social, getting on stories. You can post the sticker links now
Yep.
on stories, which takes people directly to the thing that's on sale. That is hugely invaluable. Like people used to have to fight for that shit.
Yep.
Like the
And
swipe up.
you can use the link too to add a link to get on your email list.
Yep.
So like if you're like, hey, this sale is coming up, and if you're not on our email list, click here and you can send them to that opt-in page, whether it's on your website or your email provider, and they opt themselves into your email list. You got to make it easy as possible for people. They will not do it if it's not easily accessible to them.
Correct.
Yeah.
I also think that um, like if you have some other way that you're gaining leads, like if you're doing Facebook ads, if you are doing like local promotions, like if you have like little brochures or flyers that you hand out to other businesses, whatever you're doing to kind of like drive people to your business, make sure that you're talking about like get on my email list for Black Friday. That's always really valuable.
Yeah. Now, what should people do then after the sale? What are some things that you recommend for people after they sell things?
Get drunk. Just kidding. That's an uncanny routine because Black Friday is usually chaos for us.
Yeah.
Um, so the biggest thing for me is that people tend to just like fire hose their audience, right? Like blast, and then they're pooped. They're like, I spent so much energy on this and I made 2 sales and I'm pissed off. And then they just like go dark. It's like, well, I get it. Like, yes, take time to recuperate, take like the day after Cyber Monday off, whatever you need to do. But I would also look at conversion rates and where those conversions came from. So if people are clicking directly from your Instagram stories and buying shit, that tells you like, hey, Instagram is where it's at for me. If your email open rates are, I think for health and wellness, fitness, it's like 25% is the average benchmark open rate. If your emails are under 25% open rate, what can I be doing? Like maybe there's a spam filter on my shit. Maybe I need to be improving my subject lines, things like that. If it's over 25%, what's the click-through rate? Was it 1 to 2%? Because that's benchmark. It seems really low because it is. But during Black Friday, most click-through rates go from like 1 to 2% to like 5 to 10%, which is great because it tells you people are motivated.
Yep.
Really be looking at those numbers. Look at your Google Analytics. Look at your traffic. If you had a sale on your packages or your courses, look at those pages. How many visits did you get? How many purchases did you get? Because that'll give you the conversion rate. Maybe your landing page is off. Maybe you need more details.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that happens is we look at Google Analytics afterwards and we see that more traffic went to other offers that weren't on sale and they made sales from that. So what thing was full price that people were opting to buy instead of your shit that was on sale? That tells you a lot about your offers. And then social media, like, who clicked, how much reach did you get, which is hard because you don't have control over that anymore.
Yep.
But things like that, just to get a good picture of like where your time is best invested on things like this, because you may want to have other promotions before, 2024
Totally.
Black Friday.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's all really great information too. Like where I love how you talked about the metrics. So let's back into it a little bit for people that are like, yeah, what does that mean to me? And how do I track that? So one of the first things you said was, if people are buying directly from your Instagram page, so the way that I'm thinking, yes, you can look at Google Analytics. The problem with a lot of our websites is like we can't see sometimes in some of the backend softwares like how people buy. So the way I'm thinking is you can create a separate landing page, and that link is only specifically the one you use on Instagram or
Yep.
Facebook. Is that what you
Yep.
do too? Okay, so for the
Well, that,
audience,
or it could also be looking at your Instagram metrics to see how many clicks you got to the page and how
and
many sales
then
you got.
sales. Yep.
And then you can
Yep.
also see from an email. So you can be like, okay, I got 12 sales from Instagram and I got 4 sales from this email.
Yep. So, and then what you do, and that's really people where it becomes a numbers game. Okay. So if you got, let's just say you had 100 people view your sales page and you got one sale, 1%, which is honestly average for a cold audience, which is crazy. This is why when people are like, I only got one sale, I'm like, well, how many people saw your offer? Because that's it, people. It's 1%.
Yep.
Right. So now it becomes a numbers game. So if you know that it's 1%, right, then if you want 10 sales, you got to get 1,000 people to look at your offer. That means you got to blast your shit a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is where it becomes numbers, like, and that's just like then it's and that's just where you're like, okay, how do I get more people seeing my stuff? Social media, email list, right?
Yeah.
Send 2 to 3 emails. Sometimes they don't open them. If they don't open them, send them to the resend it to the unopens. If they do open it and click, but they don't click on it, can you resend it to the people that opened but didn't click? Like, there's all sorts of ways you can see, how do I get it in front of more people?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think too, looking at benchmarks, like you said, like 1% is pretty average. Looking at benchmarks, I just looked it up just to make sure that I wasn't misquoting, but average landing page conversion rate is 2.35% across industries. Some may go up to like 25%, some may be 10%. Like, I don't see exactly like health and fitness in here, but it is a huge thing to look at that and not get discouraged, because even 1% conversion on 100 views is like,
It's good.
you're almost there.
You're
Like,
exactly.
and
exactly.
it's not like oh, it didn't work, I suck at this, let's leave it, I never want to do this again. It's no, let's look at the numbers, let's see where that 1% came from, let's see what we can do better. I'm sorry, you're never going to nail this on the first try. You're just not. I do this for a living, and every new client that we have to try new things, like, period. It's not like I walk out with like a sales strategy that just like nails it every time. Do I do a really good job? Yes. But like, they want to hit 30% conversions and we hit 20. So now what do we need to do for the next sale?
Yeah.
And looking at those numbers without any like eyeballs, like fresh blood is huge. That's why I will die on the email marketing hill, because I have seen what happens when my clients' email lists are just like dried up. They've seen the offers, they've seen the sales, they're not buying, they want something new, and you don't have anything new yet. And then we get fresh blood on the email list, and it's just like, oh my God, we're selling again.
Yeah. And it's like that when people are like, oh, I only sold 2. And again, we're like, oh, how many people were on your landing page? Oh, like 105. Okay, you're right in the ballpark. So it's not that your offer wasn't good because 2 people bought. It just means you didn't get enough people to see your offer. That's it. Right. And honestly, I don't know how you feel. I think when you've got your messaging and stuff right, sometimes the lower hanging fruit is just to get more people to see your offer rather than increasing your conversion rate.
Yeah, absolutely. Brand awareness is very real. So like you were talking about merch, like you don't care if you make a profit on merch because somebody's walking around with a Pilates in the Grove shirt. That to me, so like this is what they call self-liquidating offers, like on Facebook ads, is, you know what, you're not gonna make a profit on this, because the whole point of this is to just get fresh blood on your list. You're promoting something that's like a $17 offer and you're spending $17 per lead. Like, you're literally washing. That's the goal of a self-liquidating offer. And the way that I think about whatever you do before Black Friday is like, you're probably not gonna like be selling to these people for the 1 to 2 months leading up to Black Friday. But if you're priming them properly, they're going to be ready to buy on Black Friday. And if they're not buying on Black Friday, you have to nurture them a little bit more. Maybe your audience is a little bit harder to sell to.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's okay. That's all information. That's the
Yeah.
biggest thing for me is like at the end of Cyber Monday, when you log off and you're like, well, that didn't go as planned. It's you can have your emotional reaction and then come back to it and look at the numbers without putting any judgment
Judgment.
on it. Because what happens, I see this all the time. People come to us and they're like, I didn't follow my plan. I didn't do a good job selling. I'm probably a shitty writer. So my sales page probably sucked. I don't like getting on social. Like they beat themselves up about this sale. And it's like, okay, but look at the numbers. These are very easy to improve upon in the sense of like, if you know what to do.
Right.
So that's my biggest thing is like, no matter what happens, please don't put that on yourself. Cause like,
Yeah.
even if you make 0 sales, but you have 12 new people on your email list, that is 12 people that you can sell to in the future.
In perpetuity. Exactly. Exactly. I 100% agree. 100%. And I think a lot of small business owners, especially in our industry, they just don't look at their data. And sometimes it's not because they're doing it intentionally, like fuck the data. It's like they don't understand it and they don't know how to tell the story behind the data.
Right.
And so, somebody the other day in one of our groups was saying, I just signed up. Oh, my goal was like 25 people in my online program and I got 18. And I was like, that's great
Yeah.
still, number one. Number two, how many people saw your landing page? Right. And she was like, oh, we had probably like, I think there was like not 800 or 900 people see the landing page. I was like, that's an amazing conversion.
Yeah.
18 sales out of like 800 people seeing your landing page.
Yeah.
That's like 20%. That's great.
Yeah. And I think that like, especially if you're just promoting to your current email list, just your current social following, just your current members who come into your studio, and you're still getting sales, like
Amazing.
that means that you're building a community, you're
Yeah.
giving value to your people that like they want to keep coming back for more, and that's huge.
Yeah.
I don't think enough people understand because they don't eat, sleep, and breathe this like I do, right? But like if your numbers are even close to like benchmark and you haven't done any new list building, you're killing it.
You're doing great. You're doing great. And if you're not doing any of this, it's okay to just start where you are.
Oh, absolutely.
Just start where you are. Right.
Well, and I think treating Black Friday is like, let's just see what happens.
Mhm.
Like what you said with your 4 sessions for 350. We don't know. Like this could flop. I don't know. We'll see how it does.
Mhm.
And there's nothing wrong with doing that. Like there's absolutely no, like you don't succeed unless you just try it.
Right.
Like yes, you could fail. You absolutely could fail in, failure in quotes. But you also could find something really useful. So like I was
Yeah.
talking about my client who did the Black Friday sale, and people kept buying her full service product. It was template. It's a template shop. But like we had 2 very specific templates on sale and the bundle was full price. It was not on sale. And people kept buying the bundle that like it had another template that wasn't on sale, but it had the 2 templates that were on sale, and like together it cost way more than the 2 on sale. And people kept buying that. And I was like, okay, so clearly this bundle that people are buying is like way more in demand. And that's information that like
Exactly.
she kind of flopped in terms of like the Black Friday sale that she had planned. And she made just as much money as she expected to on full price products. So like it is information gathering.
For sure.
Period.
For sure. So speaking of that, now that most of the people that listen to this podcast are business owners. So what are some things that because you work with a variety of businesses, and even seeing like what are some great Black Friday deals that business owners can be on the lookout for?
I'm not a big fan of courses, but courses are like a huge Black Friday push. People discount their courses anywhere from 10% to like 50%. If there's anything that you really want to learn, so like mat training, that's going to be on sale for you. If you want to learn anything marketing wise, getting like a self-study course, make sure that you're looking into the person who's actually creating it, like all of that. I mean, software as a service, like I'm like praying Asana has a sale because they're so expensive now.
Asana and Airtable. I'm the same.
Right.
I have both of their like their emails like tagged so they don't go to spam on mine. Yeah. Asana, Airtable, Slack. What are
There's
some
like
other? Trello.
scheduling tools. So like
Yep.
Later, Planoly, I think that they might do like 1 month free if you buy for a year. There's a lot of subscription based services that like, oh, if you pay for the year up front, you basically get 2 months free or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Um,
Kajabi, if you're looking to upgrade or something into
they do
Kajabi,
usually do a Black Friday sale.
they usually do a Black Friday
Yeah.
one.
Um,
You can
and
also sometimes hotels will do like purchase and you just have to use it in a
yeah.
certain date. So there's stuff like that that you
And I
can
mean,
look into.
obviously equipment, like I'm always looking for computers that go on sale in case anybody on my team has a computer fiasco. Um, if there are books that you want to read, some of the coaches even have, like I've seen a couple of coaches do Black Friday sales where it's like their regular package, but then you get like a free 30-minute session
Mhm.
with them, or like a strategy or a blueprint or whatever they want to call it. Equipment's a big one. I have a reformer in my house, and there's like some things that I'm looking for when Black Friday hits. Um,
Yeah, you can do. I know that, well, Balance Body used to, I don't know if they still do this, but they did like free shipping, which is a huge cost for like those big pieces of equipment. They're very heavy and expensive. Yeah, but you can, so from a business perspective, don't just think of like how you can sell your products, think of like how you can invest in products that you really want to use at a discounted,
yeah.
price. So
Well, I
be on
mean,
the lookout for
even,
that.
more productized services. So templates that help you,
Mhm.
do XYZ. If you work with like if you have a copywriter who has a template shop and they're going on sale, Canva image templates, like those things are going to go on sale a lot. Like social media calendars, content prompts, things like that. Yes, you can still get that off Chat GPT, but like if they're specialized to your niche or your industry, that's always really valuable. Um, I always like to make just a laundry list of, like I shop for Christmas stuff on Black Friday. So, I always make a list of like stuff I need to buy for like friends and family, and then stuff I need to buy for the house and stuff that would be nice to have. And like this year, I'll have a whole list of things to buy for my dog.
Of
But think about
course.
like for your business, like wish lists. Like for me, top of the line is Asana. Like if they have a free month, I am buying that so fast.
I agree with you. I'm right there with you. I'm right there
Uh,
with you.
but I would just make a list of like, I would like to know this, or I would like to take a course on like, business metrics, things like that. Just kind of keep an eye out for that. Cause
Yeah,
what is it like top of mind? Like when you have something top of mind, it tends to like,
come.
you just see it better.
Yep.
Um, yeah, there's a lot to do.
So let's tell everybody where they can find you so that when they're looking for an amazing content creation team. And do you want to talk a little bit about the intensives that you guys have on sale right now? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So we just created strategy intensives. Normally we are full service content and copy, and we work on a retainer, which means you, like a lawyer, you buy a bucket of hours, and once we're out, we send another invoice. And we're full service in terms of strategy, writing. We can schedule if you want to, all of it. But one thing that has been coming up a lot is people really want the strategy, and they don't want to use just like Chat GPT or like a templatized strategy or calendar or anything like that, because what happens is it's just not custom to them, and they feel like it doesn't really reflect their personality or their brand. So we created strategy intensives, which is like the first part of our retainer services. So we onboard you, we get to know your business, we have a 2-hour chat, we figure out your goals, anything that's coming up for you, whether it's, we want to sell 10 more of our packages, 10 more of our templates, whatever it is. Or if you're launching something new, we have an intensive for launch strategy. But once we have the call with you, we take all that stuff internally. We do what we usually do. We go through our process of creating content plan, and then we turn it over to you that has, all of your prompts. So if you have a podcast or a video, YouTube, if you have a blog or email, social, whatever you do content creation wise, we provide prompts and outlines for all of it, so that then you basically just have to turn around and write it and post it. But yeah, they are already very popular. So that was a shock.
Yeah. I think
And
it's great. Where can they find information on that?
uncannycontent.co. There's
.co.
.co, Krista.
Yes. .co.
Or you can find me on Instagram at uncanny content.
Yeah. And we're going to link all of that up in the show notes, of course. Check out Latasha. And if you're interested, if you've ever thought of like joining the inner circle or being part of our group, Latasha is the copy coach in there. And you get she does a copy critique with everyone that submits some form of copy every month. And she helps all of us kind of stay on track
Yeah.
with our words and what we're saying and our strategy. And her team is amazing.
And we
So
also have the monthly call, and those are really fun because people get to
yes.
ask questions about their strategy, their content plan, their content production, all of that. We had a really good call this month where people got to ask a ton of questions. So
Yeah. And she's been instrumental too in like helping the business owners in the group that also have personal brands and also have like digital programming, because selling a digital program that can be universal really versus brick and mortar services is very different. And so, it's another way to have an additional revenue stream. And so she's been really helpful with that. And she'll be at the CEO Summit in a couple weeks.
I will be.
Yes. And if you are a health and wellness business owner and you are interested in free, well, not free, but low cost templates in a discount off of resources and templates, my library under kristagurka.com will be on sale the weekend of Black Friday and Cyber Monday, and they'll be significantly discounted. Everything in the library will be discounted. If I do post on social, but again, with the algorithm, you don't know if you're going to see. So if you're not on my email list, I would encourage you to go to kristagurka.com, get on my email list so that you are first in the queue when these go on sale. And they're pretty good. Latasha has written some of them herself, so they're pretty amazing. All right. Any final words, my friend?
Nope. Good luck with Black Friday.
That's all she wrote. All right, people. Thanks so much for joining me. And until next time, my friends, bye for now.